All good? Ready to go? Turn my voice up a little bit. Oh, God, for everyone watching, the whole family.
Are you ready to go? Are you built to be in the house that I built, in the booth that I built?
I know people tune in every Sunday to listen, but even when business is good, we still manage to do the podcast. NPK.
Live and everyone can hear us. Thank you very much for sticking with us. At one point, you got to see our three unhappy faces.
Even today's special guesters, unhappy faces.
I should have walked into that, shouldn't I?
Yeah, get closer to the mic now.
Sorry, not used to this podcasting.
Listen to them chocolatey sounds.
He's got a
Highlight has got a gorgeous phone voice, hasn't he?
Ah, yes.
No wonder Highlight does so much business. People must be like,
yeah.
Well, this Highlight, but he sounds like fucking chocolate. We're just going to do business with him. Errol Brown, hot chocolate.
I've been watching Joe Rogan.
Oh, listen, it's got
I've been
good
watching
radio voice.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I like him.
I like him a lot.
This is not for people.
I sound like a
for people
motorbike.
in Liverpool. This isn't Jail's real voice. This is a business voice, but it sounds good for radio.
Yeah.
I
like that.
We need one. Me and Barry need to go on a bit of a course, don't we?
Coughed.
Dun, 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 dun.
Tell them about the microbes this week and how things have changed.
Oh, okay. So episode 208 is managing microbes, but
not plant microbes.
It's going to be one specific microbe because people might get a bit fed up, but you can ask all the questions. We'll give you the non-media, the non-bullshit, the non-hysterical point of view. We're going to have a little chit. We're going to have a little chat about the coronavirus and how it's going to affect the hydro industry. If you came onto this podcast to talk specifically about managing microbes, we're going to do the full podcast next week. But if you've got questions, you can still ask them and we will answer them. I've brought me infrared thermometer gone, so making sure that at what temperature am I?
Fucking hell, lad.
A worrying 35.5.
Normal. 35.9. Good. What are you saying? Oh, good. 35.1. None of us have got coronavirus. We're laughing. Because there's the first one. If you're worried, because there's a few people around that have just got the cold or flu, check your temperature, because your coronavirus comes with a fever. So your temperature's going to be up there, 39s, 40s, 42s. So there's the first point.
So
Raccoon had said, fuck, it is the Cobra meeting. It is all the government were chatting shit. Yeah. This is the real Cobra meeting.
The government are going to ring us and we'll tell them what to do.
This is the rattlesnake meeting.
We'll decide what happens to all of you.
This is the rattlesnake meeting.
Yeah. He was on the phone, Boris, before. What's happening back? How are we, lad? You need to get Jay and Steve to have a little meeting and phone us on the red phone. Let us know what you want to do.
Yeah.
Said, all right,
so it took a while to get you. When was the last time you were on podcast?
Oh, a long time ago. You weren't this technologically advanced the last time I was on.
Technologically advanced when it took 10 minutes to even get sound onto YouTube.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're fucking shit. Coaty's fault. It's always Coaty's fault. And Josh always has to come in and save the fucking day by guessing which wires. He's like a bomb disposal expert, isn't he? Guessing which wires go where. There's a bit of a crackle and then a pop with sound. So Barry didn't want to do managing microbes today. He was like, this coronavirus is actually fucking serious. So you want to talk about corona and how it's going to affect the industry. And if you didn't know, which I very much doubt, Spanibus has been cancelled, which is a big shit, isn't it? Big shit show.
A lot of money down the pan, innit? I've heard as well that they didn't have insurance for it.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of myths and rumours and legends going to come out of all this. But
don't look at all them companies who have set up and sent people over there. Imagine how much money's being lost there.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds easily. So the thing I want to do is, if people from Spain or people involved with Spanibus listen to this podcast, so they said they weren't going to cancel because they needed the insurance to engage the thing called force majeure, which basically means by no fault of their own, they've had to cancel the Spanibus, or the government has forced them to close it, which they've now done as of today. Spain said no meetings of more than 1,000 people in one place, and that could drop to 100 people over the weekend. Ireland.
I've just set the standard at 100.
Yeah.
And no more than 100 people to be in one place at any one time.
Have you, has that been just today?
It's today.
Is it? So Spanibus...
And they closed schools, they closed the airports, everything, haven't they, in Ireland?
Yeah, I'm struggling to know how they're going to enforce that, though, because essentially Ireland is two different countries, the north of which is owned by us and the south of which is independent. So how are they going to have schools at the south of the border closed and schools in the north of the border open? I mean, this disease doesn't respect borders. So,
yeah, good point.
You know,
and it hasn't got proper borders, has it?
No.
Isn't his voice fucking unbelievable?
I know.
He should do this more often, you know.
Look how far away he is from the mic, and it just sounds great.
It's like chocolate. Fucking hell. Wow.
No wonder. Like, I can appreciate the phone voice now. I can appreciate it. We're on the receiving end of the J Highlight phone voice.
There you go. You've mocked it for many years.
For 7 years.
When he phones me up, says like dickhead going on. Like, wow, now there's another side of him.
Yeah, this is business, Jay.
Seriously, though, coronavirus, I think it's...
He's going to start blushing.
No, it's daunting though, isn't it?
So Spanibus...
What's going to happen here, Steve?
So Spanibus, they've postponed it, so they say. I think should just happen next year. I don't see a postpone until autumn, like they're saying. But all the people that have sponsored, so your biggest one, Barney's Farms, main sponsor, they pulled out. So they pulled out before Spanibus officially closed it. So now Spanibus closed the day after Barney's Farm pulled out. So what happens to the people that pulled out before Spanibus closed, and what happens to the people that were there setting up, paid the travel to get over there, set all the stand up, and who's going to get money back? Is anyone going to get money back? If people didn't go this year, this is what's been said. None of this I'm saying is truth or gospel. This is all what we're hearing. But if you don't have a stand at Spanibus 1 year, you then lose your place in the next, because there's about a 5-6 year waiting list to get a stand at Spanibus.
Yeah, and if I'm honest, there's quite a few people, an undeniable amount of people who've said that that's what they've been threatened with, and that's disappointing to know that Spanibus were taking that view on things. I mean, people were essentially trying to protect their company and their own health by not attending.
Which is understandable.
For sure, yeah.
But is that like the rumour, which it's just a rumour, that Spanibus didn't have an insurance policy?
There's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumours surrounding it. I think anybody would be wrong to state anything as fact at this point unless it was Spanibus themselves, but there's no doubt it was handled badly. That's a given.
In one way, you've got to give them a bit of leniency, because look at the way the Wales handle it, the way Italy's handled it, the way Spain as a country's handled it, the way the UK's handling it is terrible. So to give too much bad press to Spanibus might be a little bit unfair. But there's things like they waited for the force majeure to come in. So now that's happened, you would expect Spanibus to either carry over those payments.
They waited for it to come in. I think it was forced upon the whole country, wasn't it, Spain?
Yeah,
so
but that's
waited for it. It's been forced onto them.
Yeah, so Spanibus was going to carry on.
Was still going on.
I've heard stories of officials walking into the venue while people were setting up, and telling them to stop, kind of thing.
Well, that's.
I think it literally got to that stage.
I watched the live Instagram post. I don't know, it was a sea company. I don't think it was a big sea company, but I think that's what he mentioned. We've been told to just down tools, that's it, Pakistan's away. And
yeah. I know my good friend Fernando from Garden High Pro. Big, massive shout out to Garden High Pro, by the way. He was in the middle of literally building his stand. You know, he has a quite significant kind of stand,
double layer
level
stand,
yeah, and it takes a lot of building, a lot of money to build.
Grove Technology were the same. They done an Instagram video, didn't he?
Yeah, their stand was half set up.
The stand was basically set up.
Yeah.
And they were stripping it back down.
I mean, let's not hang anyone out to dry here. I mean, essentially, the Spanibus could be as victims of this as much as anybody else. You know, they're
going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, by that I mean they could have been told at a very, very late stage that they had to cancel the event. I mean, the stories of officials walking in and stopping people building the stands may well be true, and if that's the case, then Spanibus are completely mitigated, I would say, in that circumstance.
But they need to give the sponsors the money back.
Oh, for sure.
Or I hope that's what's going to happen, and I hope that they're not going to
postpone the event and just allow people to exhibit at the newly arranged event free of charge. Yeah, they've already paid for this event that doesn't happen.
Autumn. So I'm thinking they shouldn't really do it in September, because we'd have to think twice about going in September. It's a
Busy
very
time
busy
for
time of
hydro,
the year.
yeah. I think
October.
they're
is still
acutely
busy.
aware that they're not strangers to the industry. They'll, I've no doubt, handle it as best they can going forward and put it at a decent date for everybody. But when all said and done, it's not going to be the same span of us because
It's because it's in the winter. It's coming into the winter, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's people out there. So we as a shop, NPK Technology, we decided to not go when Spanibus got cancelled because the risk of going out there, one, of getting the virus, two, of being held in Spanibus in Spain was, I feel, is quite high now, especially after today. So we weren't going as a shop. The media company was still going to go out there and do some work. And as of this morning, looking at the facts and figures, I've said that I feel that the risk of getting stranded in Spain is that high that I don't want to put my lads under it. So I've said to them, you are all adults, the flights and the hotels, everything's paid for. You as individuals can go, more than welcome to, but we as a company no longer want you to go to Barcelona. If you do so, it's of your own free will.
I definitely think Spain's going to be put on lockdown.
Yeah.
Every country's following suit now, aren't they?
And if it's
America's
not,
done it,
if it's not this weekend, it'll be very early next week. America's not on lockdown, but America's suspended all flights from Europe, not including the UK.
I find that quite interesting, if I'm honest.
In a trade point of view,
Yeah, it's like Donald Trump drawing a red line across the middle of the globe, isn't it? And said, we're all welcome on this side.
I'm only sleeping in that bed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that I'm glad that we're on that side of the red line.
Yeah.
But
So I wanted to try and keep it a little bit relevant as well to the people watching. They're all watching the NPK Live podcast. I want to keep it relevant to the hydroponics industry. Some big knock-on effects. So for the shops that are listening, for the wholesalers that listen, and for the end consumers that listen, the potential knock-on effects of this, because me and Barry have talked about it for the last 2 to 3 weeks, saying, listen, stay calm, stop panicking. Anyone out there buying this is one I don't get. Toilet roll. Like, first of all, I thought, do people think they're going to get the shits and they're stockpiling toilet roll? And then it was like, no, they're stockpiling things because they think they're going to be quarantined. I'm like, there's much more important stuff to be buying than toilet roll. How about paracetamol?
Gas and lecky.
Ibuprofen. Yeah.
it's baffled me, that one, to be fair, because obviously the first thing you think of when you think of this kind of situation is food. And if there's no food, toilet paper's not a great deal of use to it, to be fair.
Everyone with a B-day is like, I am happy.
Yeah, for sure.
Harsh ass.
B-days have suddenly come back into fashion.
I'm hoping that there's other things
coughed
people have been panicked buying, but
Did you just cough then?
I did cough.
Check
Yeah.
the temperature. Fuck this shit, mate.
Every hour.
Yeah, fuck that, mate.
Yeah.
It's gone up by 0.2 degrees.
You're all right.
We're going to monitor you throughout the show.
If I have a swig of that coffee over there, it'll probably go slightly more.
Oh, yeah, probably will do.
My one over there.
That is Jay's cup for the next 2
Thank
weeks.
you very much.
So, the reason that we've got Jay on is, one, to listen to the silky, smooth, dulcet tones of Jay's phone voice for everybody to appreciate. Number two is because Jay is part of the biggest wholesaler in the UK, Highlight
Thank you very much.
Horticulture. It's nowhere, nothing from me. It's just a fact.
Okay.
At this stage of business, it's now a fact. Highlight Horticulture is the biggest wholesaler in the country. Can you hear that wind? Is that just me, or can you hear pure?
Yeah, I can hear it through the headphones. Yeah.
That,
Pretty windy out there.
I don't know even know that's being picked up. That's all windows are shut. That is loud wind. Normally it's Barry, isn't it, with the loud wind? Now it's outside. So the reason that we've got Jay on is because he's from the biggest wholesaler in the UK and is well positioned to help us talk about the impact to the UK hydroponics industry due to coronavirus. So first and foremost, most of our industry's products come from China. There was Chinese New Year, which is always a shit time for wholesalers because they've got to bulk buy and then panic buy when the Chinese New Year is over. And now that China's on lockdown and people are sick and dying, even though it is on the decline, we'll get to the sort of stats towards the end of the show to make sure people don't panic too much. But what sort of impact has that had with you as a wholesaler buying from China?
Firstly, I think it's important to remember that there's only a small number of product lines that come from China, mainly electrics, electronics, and some plastics. Everything else comes from Holland,
Spain,
other parts of Europe, some from America. So I don't see there's a great deal to worry about in the immediate future. I think the only thing that's a cause for concern is that China has been victim of this virus directly after the Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
So those two things together is 100% going to extend lead times on product that does come from China.
What is a traditional lead time from China? 'Cause it all comes by boat,
This
obviously.
isn't just highlight.
A lot of it
This is every wholesaler?
Yeah, this is everything
Every
that comes from
wholesaler,
China.
yeah,
Yeah,
every
pretty much.
wholesaler.
Generally around 6 weeks. I mean, 2 weeks manufacture,
And
4 weeks on the
water.
Well, some stuff flies here, you know. That's the other thing.
So what should shops do? Should they be bulk buying? What should they be looking on buying?
Listen, that is a personal decision. I don't want to start a
Mass hysteria.
A mass hysteria of bulk buying, panic buying in this country, but
Who's going to get a
that's
phone
not
call?
to say-
Absolutely start the hysteria.
Yeah, for sure. But that's not. I mean, listen, we'll,
Keep going, Jay. Keep going.
if you want to stock up, we'll support that. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say that we're not here to sell product, because
But we're not at that point yet where
we're definitely not.
Highlight's starting to worry, or any wholesalers really starting to worry. Like,
Not at that point.
where's
at
the
all.
next light kick coming from?
No, definitely not.
So, China, they're on the way out of this sort of virus. Some say it's between China and Iran on where ground zero was for this cause. There's some rumours that it's actually originated in Iran, but China, the Wuhan, they're actually, if you look at the facts and figures, and if you want proper facts and figures, you go on to Google, and what was it again now?
Guardian.
Odometer.
Worldometer.
Yeah.
Somebody else drew my
coronavirus.
attention to this website yesterday. It's quite good. It's got country by country real time statistics and figures.
And if
It's a bit worrying, some of it.
It is, but it's facts as well.
Yeah.
As much facts as you can get from countries like China, who will go into lockdown, limit what sort of internet exposure that they'll give to their people and what they allow to be put out there as facts and figures. But in a way, it's good to say, if you go onto that World Odometer and you check on new cases and click it twice, it'll come up with the countries that have got the highest new cases. You'll see that China's down there in 20th. So the new cases really are dramatically slowing down.
Yeah, interestingly, Spain was second on there.
Which is one of the big reasons for me stopping the media from going out there.
I think it was the only responsible thing to do, which is why Highlight and pretty much every other UK organisation who was planning to have any kind of presence there did the responsible thing and stopped everybody going, because you know.
It's just for the people that are out there now, I hope they're not listening to the podcast, because be like, shit, we're here. We were staying at Port Olympico and we were having fun in the week, saying, listen, if they lock off all the planes and that, we're on the boat and we're out of there into the next harbour, or we're going to boat it into France and get back to the UK somehow. But it's a legitimate concern, and I think that's what you'll find coming out of Spain. UK hydroponics industry, in terms of what's going to happen. So what people got to think about is, if they do, in some ways, the responsible decision of shutting schools, nurseries, educational establishments. I read a fact, or I think it was listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, and it was specific to the US, that 13% of working parents were involved in frontline medical healthcare. So if you did close the schools, nurseries, educational establishments, those 13% of those nurses now can no longer go to work. So you've just taken a big hit on 13% of your frontline defence.
The other interesting thing I was reading earlier was that a lot of medical workers, nurses, doctors, those kind of people are contracting the virus, which is kind of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because, you know, they're, as well as passing it on to other people who they're testing potentially for the virus. They're catching it when they're coming in for testing, and then they're passing it on to their own families as well. So
giving it to the next person that hasn't got it.
Yeah.
So there's a few groups of people.
I remember years ago.
If you're going to put the mic in you,
when you kicked off chicken pox and you had the chicken pox party, and everyone come down. Remember that when one kid was sick?
Because you always tried to get it out of the way early in your life, so that you didn't end up with shingles, wasn't that what they used to say? Adam
said, well, I have to buy thousands of litres of feed. No, you won't. You'll be fine with feed.
Do you know what? And that sounds like a comedy question, but he's actually not the first person to ask. I've been asked quite a few times over the last few days whether people should increase their nutrient orders, whether they just stock up on particular additives or whatever else. My answer at this stage would be definitely no. I don't see any liquid nutrients being affected just yet.
No, I don't, because there's already, because of the Chinese New Year. Well, no, actually, that won't affect liquids too much because nothing comes out of China. But the Netherlands, UK, that's really it. CANNA has supplies in the UK, and so that doesn't even have to come in from the Netherlands. CANNA has big supplies in the UK. You've got Mills; they've got stock, massive stock in the UK. You've got British manufacturing nutrients such as Plant Magic, so they'll be okay. So liquid nutrients isn't really a massive concern for me.
Our friend Buddha's Tree just down the road, they're probably about the best positioned in terms of this coronavirus because they're in Manchester.
Yeah.
I believe even coronavirus won't go to Manchester.
Yeah. I've heard that as well. So someone else has asked a question here as well, and I do want to promote people asking the questions as we chat on about this corona. I'm thinking about buying Meiju LED lights off Alibaba. Is this a bad idea? Yes, bad idea. One, the Chinese, the unsanctioned Chinese don't produce great LEDs.
It'll take 12 weeks to get here,
It'll take ages to get here.
And it won't work when it comes.
And it's just, it's not a good idea buying those sort of LEDs. Scouse Tomo's got it nailed on. Looking to SANlight, a brilliant choice.
Yeah.
And before we get really carried away and start chatting on, let's talk about the partners of the podcast that allow this to all happen. Jay, special guest of honour, you can name the first partner of the podcast.
We'll be talking about the one,
whatever one you want,
last in through the door.
Whichever partner you'd like to promote.
I'm not sure if they've changed. I don't want to say somebody just in case they have. I feel like I'm on the spot now. I'm going to
go
with the safe one and say
you
Can
can
Filters.
name anybody.
I'll say Can Fan and Filters just because.
Erwin. I have to say Erwin.
We have to mention our mate Erwin.
It's like a tick every time you mention Can Filters. Barry says
Erwin.
Yeah, you are just the most
Erwin the German.
There we go. There's a bit
Not
more
even
emotion.
German,
If you had to picture two people as friends, you would never in a million years put Erwin and Barry from NPK together as friends.
Laurel and Hardy.
It's absolutely bizarre.
It's well worse than that.
Laurel and Hardy.
No, it's well worse than that.
Why?
It just is. It's just this, isn't it?
They're really close friends.
I know.
Yeah,
but it's like Laurel and Hardy. One's dead tall and thin, and one's not.
What are you going to say?
You love
Just
cake.
Spit it out. Look like you've got something to say.
What?
What are you trying to say?
Which one's the tall, thin one?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I should have sat in the middle here though.
You're lucky you're in the middle. Otherwise, I'd be giving you it.
Yeah, you're bouncing me off the chair. So, other partners, CANNA Nutrients. You're about to say them, were you? You went to say it then. CANNA Nutrients with their organic range, BioCANNA. If you are into organic growing, then you need to check out BioCANNA because it's not widely promoted or marketed, but it is definitely a top organic feed and
really
vegan
nice media as well.
Good
yeah,
for
vegan
vegans.
friendly, 100%.
Vegan friendly, baby.
Is it?
Yes.
Quite a topical subject.
Yeah.
It's nice, though.
No bone meal, blood meal, fish castings, none of that. All vegan friendly, all completely plant based.
Nice. Oh, they've cornered the market there. No one else does that, do they?
Not that I know of, no. Who've you got, Barry?
I'll go for AutoPot.
AutoPot watering
AutoPot
systems.
Gravity fed. World's leading gravity fed
I want to say something, but I don't know if I might get him into trouble. I was a bit like, I've got the new valve. And I was like, I've got the new valve. And then fucking somebody else was like, I've got the fucking fittings and fixtures. I was like, no, you haven't. And they're like, yeah, I have. I'm like, bastard.
Yeah, I have.
I looked and I just thought,
see, Steve.
My good friend Jason has allowed me to trial the new valve. Very, 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 very impressed.
You want to throw some organics through, don't you?
Yeah, that's what I want to try and do. I know Jason's going to hate me for it because
you can try and break it.
I mean, listen, Jason's always kind of underestimates, under kind of promises and over delivers, if that makes sense in terms of his product. So he's saying don't use organics because it's still not intended for that. But I just want to try it because we've always been desperate to use some other.
I think it'll be sound as long as you put a cleaning solution through it. The size of that hole now.
I'm convinced it will. I mean, double the size hole is a massive step forward for AutoPot and their valve, and I'm over the moon for them because it's essentially one of the best products out there for me.
It is definitely. Talking about best products out there, SANlight LED.
Yes.
You are the exclusive distributor of SANlight.
We are very proud of it as well.
Yeah.
So you should be. It's a very good light.
Yeah, they're an exceptional company as well.
Yeah, good people.
They're Austrian. I mean, anybody that knows proper Austrian people will know that they're that absorbed in being better than they are now.
Yeah.
They just invest everything back into that company, you know.
And it's not even the fact of
Build
that they're a
quality,
partner.
backup service. They've nailed everything.
We've been to the facility and I've seen firsthand what goes into making a SANlight, and the fact that the people that
I've actually had a race against the lady that built them. Yeah.
would you honestly call it a race?
But beforehand I would, yeah.
Not afterwards, you wouldn't. Electrifying she was.
Yeah.
Done like 4 before we'd found the first screw.
Yeah.
But the people that put them together are genuinely invested in making good lights, because they know that the people that are getting these lights want them to grow the best quality produce possible, and they're invested in that. So they put the heart
two of them
and soul
generally
into it.
have a passion for what they do.
Yeah.
You know, David and Martin, they generally genuinely have a passion.
And for two owners of a company as well, it's like having the skill set that the two owners have got. Phenomenal optical, electrical engineer, and like top of his game, and one master horticulturalist. It's like two perfect skill sets there to produce one of the finest LEDs in the world. And they have done.
Yeah.
And last but by no means least, Revolution Microelectronics. HPS, double-ended Diva, and the ceramic metal halide, double-ended. Very good technology, produced out of Thailand. And good. It's just nice to see good innovation coming into the UK and into the global hydroponics market. So big shout out to them.
Yeah.
Now then, I'm not giving Coates any space to put an intro. I'm going to make him do some work this edition. Coates, you can put the intro anyway. Back to it. Manager Microbes. Let me see if there's any questions.
I know in the UK it was on 434 cases last night, and today we're up to 590. There was 8 deaths from it yesterday, and today there's 10.
Oh, from in the UK?
In the UK alone.
Yeah.
So last night it's jumped from 434 to 590.
It's heavy, isn't it?
More than every day. What's it going to be tomorrow?
Well,
if
we
it
will see.
doubles again, if that's...
I said, didn't I, in the shop before, there's 594 or 596 active cases in the UK in 4 days' time, plus a day's reporting time. So by Tuesday next week, if the number is above 2,000, that is a little bit to be expected. So still don't panic. If it's above 2,000, that's to be expected. If it's below 2,000, we just did a little bit of quick maths. If it's below 2,000, then the UK's doing a good job of containing it and stopping it from spreading too much. So there's a little figure to keep your eye on.
But to be honest with you, this thing that they've got in Parliament now, they should sort of pull the finger out their ass and do something where the numbers are low. Every other country seems to be going on lockdown, so why shouldn't we? Do you know what I mean? Why leave it for another week or so before you implement something like that when every other country's doing it and you're not?
It's the financial risk, isn't it, to the countries?
The notable thing for me is the likes of Switzerland, who've got, as we all know, a very buoyant economy. They banned large gatherings, I think, like a week ago, maybe 10 days ago.
Yeah.
And it's clearly worked because they've got less cases than anybody else in Europe by a mile.
I want to know what Alaska's doing differently, because they're like got no cases at all.
Being a very, very long way away.
And cold as shit.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I think, is it right that every country in the world's got it now? At least one case. I think it's in pretty much every country,
Tom
isn't it?
Hanks has
I
got
don't
it.
know. Yeah,
Has Tom Hanks got it?
Mm.
Or has he just fancied 2 weeks off? Going to go and sit in his mansion for 2 weeks, close the doors and be
He's
like...
quarantining himself in an 18-bed mansion.
Has he got a new film coming out?
He has, yeah.
Yeah, maybe something to do with it.
He seems like a stand-up
It's
guy,
easy.
Tom Hanks, though.
He does, but-
I'd be happy to go into quarantine if I lived in an 18-bed house with a swimming pool,
15 mil in the bank.
tennis court, basketball court.
There's going to be videos of Tom Hanks in like 3 years'
Fucking
time.
cinema.
Remember this coronavirus? And Tom Hanks had it in self-quarantine. He's just there Nice backhand, Tom, as he's playing tennis with his
can
wife.
imagine him walking around his house now with a
in
trip.
3 years' time. Remember this coronavirus? And Tom Hanks had it in self-quarantine. He's just there. Nice backhand, Tom.
What's going
as
on
he's
there?
playing tennis with his wife.
Whoa.
Remember this coronavirus?
Okay, now.
Why is that telly just come up?
Nice backhand, Tom.
What's going on there?
Playing tennis with his wife.
Whoa.
Oh, well. Oh, Josh is messing with it, look.
Oh, Josh has been all fancy.
Oh, he's trying to be all fancy. He just forgot the volume was on the telly, didn't he?
Put the
Yeah.
shits up
Sorry
his dog,
about that,
Josh.
people. We fucking shit ourselves. Someone said, Tweedledee said, is that how do you say? Coutinho on the podcast, the one in the middle? You look a little bit like Coutinho.
Oh, yeah.
Coutinho?
Huh? Is that a sly comment, or is that a good thing? Is Coutinho a good-looking fella?
Yeah, I suppose as fellas go. Yeah.
I put you a difficult question there, didn't I?
He's one of my favourite footballers. Like, of
Is
all
he?
time, yeah.
Yeah, Jay's a massive
He's an
Liverpool
absolute
fan.
colossus, isn't he?
So look at these hotspots. These 124.
This must be old, because it says the United Kingdom's got 373 cases.
How many?
Was it say Spain 2,140? Yeah, that's very old.
Yeah, that's
I
not
think
like
Spain
that.
are up to 3,000 cases now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been monitoring
3,000.
Spain more closely than I have
Than
the
the
UK.
UK,
It's
yeah.
bizarre, that, isn't it?
Because you're about to travel to it.
Yeah, well, not so much me, but my full sales team are about to travel there. So.
Still.
We're about to.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Stop now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get some. Actually, I've got some up on my laptop as well. We can get to the figures. Let's see what everyone said. Scouse Tomo said, tell us about the valve for the AutoPot valve. So it's a 5mm aperture.
It's still the same valve.
Still exactly the same, but they've just made the aperture wider. So come April, you'll have all new valves, new fixtures and fittings to go with it. They'll all come with it,
new
but
pipe.
they'll still continue to sell the old valve, so that if you've got the
Is he
system
going to
currently in place,
discontinue the old valve? at some
eventually,
point?
yeah, eventually he will
Yeah.
do. Yeah, but he's still going to sell for another year. He's just going to have stock of it there. So people who've just bought AutoPots, if they discontinue today, they'd have to basically rechange all the valves, everything apart from the pots. So he's going to continue so that people who've just bought the systems can continue to for the next
I'm
year.
confident that AutoPot as a company will look after anyone who's got the old valve for a long time to come.
Yeah, of course they will. They are that type of company. How many of us get flu and how many people die? Very true. That's another good question that people are asking. How many people get the flu and how many people die each year? The flu affects old people. Affects old people with underlying health conditions. The difference with the coronavirus is how quickly it's spreading. So flu doesn't go as far. Now, something that I want to look into is, I said it last week, didn't I? The easier that a virus is transmitted means the less harmful that it is to people. So I want to see sort of where it compares against SARS, MERS, the normal flu, and sort of see.
Aren't they all the same sort of virus, that COVID?
Yeah, they're all exactly the same. Well, when I say exactly the same, structurally exactly the same. So we'll do it. This is another thing I wanted to talk about, specifically for shops, potentially for people in the houses, but specifically for shop owners in the UK. They're not a widely used product, but ozone generators, O3, specifically inline ozone generators. So I've rang Highlight up this morning, asked how many that they had in stock. They've got plenty in stock. So if you're a shop owner, what we'll be doing at NPK tomorrow, we've ordered one 10-inch. You attach your fan onto it. You need 5 meters of ducting to allow the air to properly come into contact with the ozone. And then at 6 o'clock, we're going to put it on a timer, 6 p.m. We're going to set it up. We've got a fan at the top of the shop. We're going to set that up there and allow the negative pressure to pull the air up from the bottom of the shop. And over a 12-hour period from 6 p.m. at night to 6 a.m. in the morning, allowing 3 hours for it not to be on, will hopefully cycle all the air in the shop and kills everything. Ozone is used by growers to get rid of smells, pollens, airborne
Kills everything
pollutants.
that goes through it.
Kills everything that goes through it.
Suppose, yeah. I've got hats off to you for your innovation. I think it's a good idea.
I thought
Just be careful, and probably worth telling people listening and watching that
it is
ozone
harmful.
is very, very bad for you.
It is.
Don't expose yourself to an ozone machine. That is
Barry has first-hand experience of this, don't you? So Barry, back in the day, we had one of those stand-up ozone generators, very good. It comes with 6 outlets, used produces ozone. You can also attach airline to it, so you can basically sterilize your water. And when I say sterilize, I don't say it lightly. People say, "Oh, sterilize your worktops." Sterilize means it is sterile. There's nothing on it whatsoever.
Free, yeah.
So I don't use that word lightly, but it will sterilize your water completely. And I said to Barry, he's like, "What is it? What does it smell like?" I said, "Well, it smells like a few things. Rain. So lightning creates ozone. So when there's a thunderstorm, there's lots of ozone. So when a thunderstorm and the rain hits the pavement, it can produce an ozone type smell." Something else similar is when there's heavy rainfall, hits the concrete, it actually splashes up bacteria, and these bacteria make a similar smell to ozone. So if you know what it smells like after a rainfall, that's what ozone smells like. And I was like, "Does it? Yeah." Turns it on, I went, "Yeah, it does, yeah, it smells like rain, that." I went, "Oh, fucking hell." Oh, and then 6 hours, major headache for 6 hours.
Yeah, major.
Like, Barry,
for about
don't
6
sniff
hours.
that, mate. It's fucking heavy. You had the cleanest nose in the world for about 6 hours if you had a sterile nose. But no.
Your knowledge astounds me, by the way.
Why?
Oh, just quite clever, aren't you, with this all this?
Did you hear that? Look, this is why I fall asleep. Did you hear him when the rain hits the pavement, bacteria splashes back up?
Pretty
I
clever,
was just
that,
looking
though.
at him thinking, fucking hell.
I know the
It's
smell
made
he's
you
talking
put
about.
all
My
this-
kids used to say to me, "Yeah, I can smell the rain, smell the thunder,
Yeah.
Dad." Yeah.
But to know that when the rain hits the floor and it splashes
That's-
bacteria back up,
That's what I
is
mean
when I
when I
look
say
at him and
he's
think to
pretty
myself,
clever.
clever swat.
I want to pick it up. And I don't know if I've ever said this on podcast, because it's actually very embarrassing when people call you clever, because who built, like, we're in the media company at the moment, and I needed the darkroom building. I haven't got the first fucking clue on how to build anything. So IKEA furniture is my absolute limit, and it'll take me a good few hours. So when people say clever, it's like I get embarrassed because I'm book clever. I love books, so it's cleverness comes from something I enjoy doing, just reading books and learning. But ask me to put a table together, that is proper fucking clever to me. And doing anything, it's just a skill that you haven't got. It's
He's
considered
all
clever.
embarrassed. Look at him.
I hate when people.
Please me.
He is all embarrassed, genuinely embarrassed, isn't he, that we've called him clever? Anyway, moving on. That's enough praise for
Let's get back to the comments. There's some good comments coming in. So there's the valve. It's new. That was last comment we were talking about. It's new, it's fresh, and it's that window. Fuck me, that's loud. I can hear that on my earphones. How many people die of flu and normal flu? Exactly, but it is spreading a little bit more. And
Getting back to that for just a second, I think it's important to acknowledge that this virus is still new. It's still so new in terms of the pandemic that there's a lot more people still out there who have it than who have either recovered or died. So figures are very, very skewed at the moment.
on what happens to, like, at the moment, it's taking out people that have got underlying health conditions, but give it a bit of time. Let's see what else it affects.
Yeah,
at the moment.
stop talking about mutations as well, which is another worrying thing, because obviously we all know the viruses mutate.
They haven't spoken about that at all.
And they've not mentioned it.
They haven't said.
So,
What do you mean?
Just be careful what you say, AJ, because it's genuinely, it's scary.
I'm not clever enough to scare people by any stretch of the imagination with my knowledge of it. I just know that viruses change in their
What do you mean, the way
ability
killed?
to be killed. Yeah, so they your ability
But isn't this
to vaccinate against them.
It'll become immune to it.
Yeah.
But isn't this virus, anyway, I've heard, is it could make you feel like you've got jet lag.
Yeah.
But it could make you feel like
Shit.
something totally different. Like the symptoms aren't the same. It's changing its structure through the same.
Just different people, different immune systems. So some people are saying like that they feel like they've got jet lag, really tired, a little bit of a headache, just a bit
Dry
worn
throat,
down.
I've heard, is one of them.
Yeah.
One of the main ones. In fact, I was reading something before that said you should drink more water. You should drink every 20 seconds or so. You should drink some water.
Every like 15 minutes would be good.
Yeah, we
time.
watched
Just
that on the news,
to keep
did
your
like
throat
15
clean, because
what he was saying was about
the virus gets in via your throat a lot of the time.
But what they were saying was, we watched that, didn't we, the other day? They said every 15 minutes, just a sip of water, because if it's in your mouth, the virus, that's where it goes for straight away. You can actually wash the virus down
into your stomach, and your stomach acids will kill the virus, which is really interesting.
If you don't have a drink, what it'll do is it'll make its way from your mouth to your throat and into your lungs.
Yeah. So the thing with this virus is that 95% of people who contract it have a fever. So one of the things is to stop people worrying, is because people aren't just going to stop getting sick either. People are going to get the cold, they're going to get the flu, they're going to get everything else that you would normally get this time of year. So a fever, and I mean a strong fever, and that's something like 42 degrees. Is anything above that's like fever shit. If you've got that with a sore throat and a tightening of the chest, then that's serious and you need to quarantine yourself. It's still worth quarantining yourself if you get sick anyway, just to stop passing that on, but just to stop people worrying. 95% of the time it comes with a fever. So if you've got a sore throat, you feel tired, but you've got normal temperature, it's very unlikely you've got coronavirus. Going back to that mutation is, again, not to scare people, but when things mutate, they become resistant to things. So at the moment, it's...
But we haven't... You're saying it's going to... If it did mutate, but we haven't even got a vaccine for it anyway.
So some people are saying a year and a half for vaccines. What some people are saying, why is it taking that long to get a vaccine? So you can't produce a vaccine for the world.
It's the trials, isn't it, that takes the time?
It's the trials, and there's a lot of money being spent on it. There's a lot of the top scientists in the world are all going to be working on this right now. But to find something that kills the coronavirus,
but doesn't
it's
kill
safe
you,
for humans, doesn't kill other things in your body. Right, we've found it. Now let's test on people. Who the fuck are we going to test it on? People who've got in hospitals that have got coronavirus. So they're even paying people to take coronavirus.
Yeah, do you know that?
£3,500 to be given coronavirus that they can do tests on you. That it is not worth your health. There's no money you can put on your health. You don't. Me and Barry got
surely
norovirus.
There's enough real cases out there for them to be able to test on people who've actually got.
I think what it is because they would have to be in a hospital and wait for somebody to come in when they give.
It's a timing thing, I think. Yeah.
And then they've got it out there.
So what they want to know is the it might not work. What's it called again? Immunization. It might not work on people who've full bore got it, because when you've got any flu or virus or problem, when you're showing symptoms of it, you've already had it for 4 or 5 days. You're on your way out of it. When the body's reacted, you get sick because all the lymphocytes, all the white blood cells, the lymphocytes, phagocytes, the thing that attacks the badness in your body, they're fully going to work. And when you're burning up and when you've got a fever, that's your body physically burning the virus to try and kill it. That's what's happening in the body. So it's a good thing when you get a fever. So immunization's got to be, you've got to give them the coronavirus, wait maybe 24 hours for it to replicate, then give them the immunization and say, right, we know you've got it within a day. You're not showing any symptoms. Will this immunization work? And then to people are in hospitals who've only had it for a day. You don't know that you've got it. And so you've got to get people to do the testing. Then you've got to make sure that it's safe for them. So you've got to test it on animals. It takes a long time to come up with a new immunization for a virus that's never been known to humankind before.
You should probably say they don't have to test it on animals. They choose to test it on animals.
Yes, they choose to. But again, this is another thing, probably going slightly off topic here, probably going to piss a lot of people off. But I do support animal testing when it comes to stopping diseases and things that can kill humans, because there's a lot of things, I'm not going to get into it now because it's completely off topic, but there's a lot of things that we no longer suffer from because we've come up with immunizations and with stuff that we're tested on animals that we then went to human trials, and there's no point testing stuff on humans if we don't know if it's going to be safe. So to do a lot of testing on pigs to make sure that it's safe for them, and then they pass on to human testing. So another topic completely, but there you go. Comments, where are we at with comments? Right, Operation Grow. Where have you gone? Current exponential growth factor is roughly 1.36 with a standard deviation of around 0.205 for the stats fans.
What does
Operation Grow says at that rate it can
Say
hit...
that in English.
There's no English for it, that's just a raw sort of stat talk. It goes on to say at that rate it can hit over 5,000 infections in around 10 days from the current number, but it's just pure numbers and not taking movement restrictions, etc.
I looked at that number when I was trying to decide whether we should go to Spain or not, and kind of used Italy as a model, really, just with them having the worst case.
What's it called, a pandemic?
So this is another thing that I want to sort of...
Pandemic is, it's that's something that's going to affect more than 80% of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's one of the definitions
So,
of a pandemic is that when it's a
80%
true
of the people in
pandemic,
the world will get it.
Yeah, 80%, up to 80% of people will get this virus in a true pandemic. Who the World Health Organization have only just classed as a pandemic, and they've said it could be, if we make no measures to prevent this from spreading, will become a pandemic. So literally on the borders or boundaries of properly classifying it as a pandemic. And I think the World Health Organization, if they have classed it as a pandemic or they're saying it's a pandemic, is literally just to kick government's asses into gear, because there'll be government legislation that says when who says this, we can do this, this and this. Until they say it's a pandemic, we can't close schools, we can't do this to football matches, we can't do that. So they might have gone to who, listen, we need you to call it a pandemic just so that we can instantly, without going through all kinds of shit, do this, this and this. There's a lot of shit that goes on. Politicians, regardless of the way we slate them, are very intelligent people. They run the fucking country. There are a few imbeciles in there that manage to sneak their way in, but on the majority, politicians are smart people and know how to manage this risk and manage countries. So time to time, you've got to give them a little bit of credit to maybe, and that's probably what's happened. Someone's gone on the phone to WHO, said, call it a pandemic that allows every country to take these steps to really slow it down. So don't get too concerned by the fact that it's called a pandemic.
I mean, when did we find out what's this thing that they're doing today?
Cobra meeting was 2 hours ago.
So when will we know the outcome of that? Is there going to be
probably by 6 o'clock tonight or first thing tomorrow morning?
No, it'll definitely be today, I would have said.
Yeah. That will.
I think though that they have got to shut it down. I honestly believe that they have got to
shut the country down. Or
listen, there's two implications in that. There's how it affects everybody as individuals or families, and then there's the economic implications. They're the only two things to really consider in this emergency situation for me. And if you asked most people, I think they would agree that whatever measures the government decide to take,
we fully back them.
We back them 100%, and I think it's our job as people in this industry to who maybe have got a voice to just encourage our people in our industry to be responsible towards this virus as well.
It is common sense. So there's not going to be people gasping and going, "Oh, I didn't think about doing that." But in our industry, you're dealing with the public every day. You're in a shop front, a wide variety of customers as well from every different background. So washing your hands. This should not be news either. This is something that's pissed me off. Is that it seems like please be washing your hands at like several times a day before you eat food.
There wouldn't be no viruses.
Like Barry knows, he took the piss out of me, like, jokingly, obviously, but we took the piss out of me for the amount I wash my hands, because we're dealing with money. Money is one of the biggest ways for things to be passed on. Wash my hands all the time before I eat food. Wash them several times a day. Now that we're handling money and this is out there, we're hand sanitising. Our customers come in, we make a little joke. NPK looking after you, a bit of hand sanitizer for you.
I've got a bit of OCD about washing my hands, to be fair.
I have.
You have got OCD, you don't drink out of a can or nothing,
no
bottle or nothing, will you?
Me particularly, because I don't even notice that I'm doing it, but you can probably see it on podcast as I'm being filmed. I've got a real thing about touching my face. I've got to hold on to my hands at the moment and just keep them away from my face, because if your nose gets a bit itchy or a bit of my beard gets a bit itchy, I do that.
Why would your nose get itchy? Check his temperature.
Get the laser.
Why would you know you're fucking... I've got to watch you.
Listen, Jay.
Difficult to check him under his cap, but he's 34.8. So it's all right.
I'm actually going down, getting cooler.
Nah.
But Jay freaked out before. Like, come to blows with Barry. Barry's like, listen, before you make your way into our office, you'll be health checked. He's like, it's in my eyes! Barry's like, that's going to be the least of your problems if you got coronavirus.
Health and safety point to note, anybody who's using those laser temperature things, don't
point
put them
in their eyes. Don't they? So Raccoon Hands has said, don't they give you cancer? ?
Which?
Exactly. That was a comment a few minutes ago. So just, I'm not sure what point you're picking us up on. So just write another comment. Let us know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know. I nearly bought until I read up. No good for Anita. Let us know what we were talking about. Doobie UK missed most of this, guys. That we back up after live. Grandad said all-round skills at NPK.
Wonder what that was.
Dry mouth for a decent reason, not Wuhan. Benjamin Biggs, Plantasia, one of the top shops in the UK, ozone heart created by corona discharge. You know what? I didn't even think about that.
What's that?
So corona discharge is basically a fancy way of saying thunder. So it's a corona discharge. It's the way of forcing oxygen molecules, a third oxygen molecule, so oxygen O2, create a third oxygen to make it O3, and it's called a corona discharge. Oh, I'm absolutely gutted I didn't.
Clever fucker, isn't he?
Ben's a really clever lad, though. You know, Ben from Plantation. Yeah, really clever.
I'll get him on the podcast with Steve.
Them two together would be like in a foreign language to most people who listen.
Me and Ben,
watch
we're gonna do. I've just thought of this right now at AutoPot Summer Social. We're gonna do a Steve and Ben podcast as we walk around the polytunnels, and what we might discuss, this would be a good topic actually, setting up the polytunnels, how you run 1,000 plant AutoPot setup, and we'll go through it. That'll be our little summer podcast, Ben. I'm up for doing that. But he said, created by corona discharge, electricity jumping through air between 2 points as well as UV. Photocopies also produce the same smell when setting toner onto paper. They do indeed. Gutted I missed that one though, you know, corona discharge. Fucking hell.
Well done, Ben. You've done him.
Yeah.
Raccoon Hand said it was about the ozone.
Cause cancer. Yeah, that's why we were saying, please don't expose yourselves to the ozone generators. Put them on when you're not in the room. Turn them off. Ideally, have a switch where you can turn them off whilst you're still outside the room and allow the ozone to dissipate from the room before you enter it. Very, very, very important.
Yeah, it does dissipate pretty quickly. Oxygen, O3, ozone is a highly reactive molecule, so that's why it's so good at its job. So what we're going to do is we're going to set a timer, so at 6 o'clock the fan's going to kick in full speed down a good length of ducting. If you're in a grow room, it's really important that if you're doing it to get rid of particulates, pollens, airborne spores, smells, that you have to have, I think it's at least 5 to 6 meters of ducting to allow the ozone to mix with the air and completely get rid of all smells and any other particulates that you want it to kill. So we're going to set ours to come on at 6, run for 12 hours. That will basically get through all of the air in the shop a good few times, and we'll have it going off at 6 or maybe 7. Give the shop a good few hours to be a highly oxygenated shop in the morning. Like, we're going to be bouncing in full of oxygen. It's going to be great. It's
nice
interesting
idea.
to see what it smells like in the morning as well. Like, really fresh shop. But for any other shops,
Like it's thundered and rain.
yeah, it's going to be like a tropical rainforest.
Yeah, like the rain bouncing off the curb.
Do you want to know something?
Bacteria bouncing up. And...
Oomocytes, I think that's the type of bacteria. They're called O, oomocytes.
All right, smart ass.
No, it's just... it's
We
good to
were
know.
impressed when you said bacteria bounces up. I don't need to know the name of it.
Oomocytes. Well, we're still managing microbes. So I
She's just
thought with
upset that Ben did them.
Yeah, I'm a little bit upset that Ben got that joke above me. Gutted. But UK shops, Highlight have got good amount of stock, and this is me saying this, not Highlight. They're not trying to sell
Oh
them.
no, we
They've
had
only
this
got a few.
conversation before Jay even landed.
Yeah, they haven't got huge amounts of stock. They've got plenty.
If I was
but
a
not
shop
huge.
owner, I would definitely have that done, set up on a timer. You've got all the stuff that's needed to do it. So
Fan,
Yeah.
bit of ducting.
just to
Buy your ozone generator. You've got 6, 8, 10, and maybe 12. I think they have got a few 12-inch ozone generators. And just have it clean in your shop. Just prevention's better than cure. Make your shop nice and clean for your customers to come into, and for you to spend the whole day into. So I'm expecting Highlight to have a good few sales of ozone generators tomorrow. We've already bought ours. We jumped the queue, and we'll see. I'll get on tomorrow. I'll do a little video tomorrow on Instagram as well, just showing end users how we set up ozone generators.
financially, how do you think it's going to affect the world? I know
Terribly.
Wall Street, like the trading and all that.
Absolutely terribly.
It's
halted
worrying
it.
that they've dropped interest rates and all that kind of stuff this early in the whole thing. That tells me.
0.75.
Isn't it as well, am I right
0.25%.
or wrong? In Italy, if you've got a mortgage, they've said, listen, we're putting your mortgage payments
Yeah,
on
they've stopped
hold.
mortgage payments. It's interesting. That.
They've stopped
That's
which
mad,
payments?
that.
Mortgage payments.
They've said, listen, Italy's on lockdown, your mortgage payments can stop until the country's back to itself.
Guess what else?
It's a bold
the UK 's
move, and I
gonna
think
do?
it's one that will be welcomed by the Italian population. I mean, let's have it right. It's the bank's money that the government are giving away,
Yeah.
which is quite nice. Isn't it?
But most banks these days are owned by the government, especially in the UK. Government bailouts and all that shit. But NatWest are specifically thinking about allowing people who've got mortgages to have mortgage payment holidays with no consequences, no extra interest. They're saying if you're going to be or are affected by corona, you've had to take time off work on this stupid £90 statutory pay. Stupid because it's so minimal that you can take a mortgage payment holiday. I think once NatWest do it, all the other banks will fall into line.
Yeah,
as
I was
well.
disappointed in that. Boris's, in my eyes, failed
£90.
attempt at easing the pressure was...
£90.
Yeah, but he's going to give you that from day one rather than day 4.
Yeah.
Very generous of him.
I know, £90 a week.
Yeah.
I just don't know how people
It's not
are
possible.
doing £90 a week.
It's not possible.
It's heavy. But to be fair to the government, there are some good measures in place. So talking financially for business owners, for shop owners, and anyone listening that's got a business, for retailers, they're cutting this year. They're cutting rates, business rates. So I think they're abolishing business rates for 2020 for retail businesses. There's up to.
Does that mean I can have a price increase?
No. We're waiting for this one. Corona price increase.
Profiteering.
Who's going to do that first? The wholesalers saying, "Oh, there's been a Corona price increase." First, we had the Brexit price increase. Which, by the way, wholesalers, when you did a Brexit price increase, I made a note of it. I've got all the emails. So you've done a pre-Brexit price increase. So when we actually leave Brexit,
I'd like to think
a second Brexit price increase. I'm going to be getting in touch and being like, "Listen, bollocks."
I'd like to think that
Bubble
nobody's going to profiteer from coronavirus. I would
don't.
really hope that's
I
the
am.
case.
I've bought loads of hand sanitizer. I'm selling them for £1 each.
Yeah, listen, I was offered the CBD hand sanitizer earlier on today, which made me feel quite sick, to be fair.
But listen, hand sanitizer.
The offer of profiteering off the back of this whole virus thing for me is about as distasteful as it gets, and anybody who chooses to go down that road.
What about not profiteering? And what about it costs you £5 to get a hand gel in, and as long as you make no money at all, but you don't lose money, and you get it out there for, let's say, it costs you £1 to transport, selling it for £6.
Nutriculture.
Put your mic in front of your mouth. What you've got to say is important. Make sure people hear it.
Right, calm down, mate. Well, Nutriculture sent us a delivery the other day. When we opened the delivery, they've sent rubber gloves, masks, hand sanitizer, Dettol spray. They sent like a full coronavirus.
But I know Nutriculture as a company, and I can promise you that will have come out of them genuinely wanting to look after their customers.
Yeah.
I know the people who made the decisions.
It was free.
Yeah,
it was like a care package that they sent you for the office.
100%. That would have been with good intentions.
You know what? That
sanitizers,
Dettol spray
rubber gloves.
is boss.
Yeah.
You can spray it on any surface. So whether it's your leather couches, your wooden tables, your
He's only
counters.
just got onto
I was
that.
also
I don't
told
know if he
yesterday,
is.
by the way, by a very, very reliable person that if you put 1 teaspoon of any common bleach, Dettol, not that I want to endorse Dettol as a bleach, but any bleach,
They're not a partner of the podcast yet.
teaspoon into a normal common size spray bottle, diluted water, then that is just as good as any branded cleansing product you can buy for getting rid of the coronavirus.
Did you see that Dettol though? Like the 2 days after it came out, actually had this COVID-19 kills coronavirus put onto there as well.
There's 2 ways of looking at that, and there's either raw profiteering or genuine concern. I'm not entirely sure which.
I'd say profiteer.
Branded face masks, I think, is probably the best example I've seen of profiteering up to now.
Branded face masks.
Yeah.
And they don't even work.
No.
So
There
face
was
masks.
a craze, wasn't there? of
So
buying
there
face
is
masks.
another one out stupid. Actually, no, I can't call them stupid people because panic does weird things to people's brains, like this toilet roll thing. So I don't really want to call people stupid, but stupid actions can lead to real devastating results. Is one top example face masks. People are panic buying face masks. It can be maybe quite good at stopping if you've got it from giving it to other people, but it does absolutely nothing to stop you from getting it from other people because. Any nurses or doctors will know this because they've been trained to do it. You put the face mask on in one particular way. They're only allowed to have it on for a certain amount of time. When they remove it, they have to remove it in a very specific way, put it into a sanitary bag and put it down for incineration. They'd probably do that 20 times a day. I'm not trained how to do it. I don't know how to remove a face mask.
There's actually a procedure for washing your hands and donning facial protection and hand protection in hospitals, and it's a very, very strict
You
and
ever
rigid
wonder why
procedure.
people doctors put their hands out, it's not because they're holier than thou and they think that they're better than everyone. That is the procedure. The person who's putting it onto them has already been sterilised and disinfected, and they are making sure that the doctor's hands don't make their way onto the glove for things to get onto it. So people wearing face masks, it's doing absolutely nothing to prevent you from getting this coronavirus. What you are doing now is you've created a major, it's not a surplus, the opposite of a surplus, you've created a major reduction in face mask availability, shortage. Now nurses are struggling to get hold, hospitals are struggling to get hold of face masks. So what you're doing is no protection for yourself and actually affecting real things going on in hospitals. And it's just people like it one of these subjects that really interests me. What the butterfly effect? But your one small action can have huge impacts to other people. We talked about it last week with the Mexican avocado farmers and the quinoa growers. Farmers like killing themselves, going out of business because they can't afford to feed their own family because people are making more money selling it to Westerners because quinoa became a superfood about 6 or 7 years ago. Massive impacts from things that people don't know or think about what they're doing.
It's like a trend though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And everyone jumps on the bandwagon.
Betty phones Margaret and says, look, I've just been down there, 12 bog rolls left, I bought a lot. And she thinks, shit, I need bog rolls. She doesn't know what she needs bog roll for, but she just knows that.
I'd imagine that's a big stimulus for this panic buying, it's just conversations like that, innocent ones where they say, oh yeah, there was only 3 left on the shelf.
And then people think,
and that person thinks, wow, if there's only 3 left, I better go and get some.
There's only 3 left, why have they gone, something I need to get some for when I find out what to use it for.
And you can't necessarily blame people for it, can you? When you analyse it, really, it's...
If anyone needs pot noodle, I've got them all. I've
Yeah,
stocked up on pot noodles.
13 ton of pasta in my backyard there.
Barry, what would you do if mushrooms and cucumbers were the only last things on earth that you could eat?
Smoke coronavirus. Because I don't eat mushrooms, mate.
No.
I reckon Jay do the same.
100%.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're a big fucking mushroom fanatic
I can't
as well.
stand them. Absolutely.
You don't eat anything that grows in the dark. It's a fucking fungus.
I have been known to say that before now.
I would happily accept coronavirus over mushrooms.
Yeah. What about cucumbers?
No, I'd eat them.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd have to. It just told me nose.
Need water in it.
It's only
A mushroom.
water.
Not fungus.
One day I'll get Barry to eat a mushroom and cucumber sandwich and record the event.
No, you won't.
You won't.
If I have to shave the speed up for charity, I'll get Barry to fucking eat a mushroom and fucking cucumber sandwich
Shave it
for
off for
charity.
coronavirus.
I'll grow a beard before.
Shave it off for coronavirus.
No. This is actually prevent coronavirus. It's like a HEPA filter
that's
before it gets
defo
to
Not
you.
because you
innit?
can't wear a face mask.
That's defo.
No, I can wear a
harbour,
face
innit?
mask. It's those
I reckon
gas
that's where it
masks I can't
started.
wear.
Hey, I reckon that's where it
It
started.
doesn't create the seal, does it? So around the beard, that's why special forces can't have
Right.
beards.
I reckon it started there.
I think he's talking poo now.
I reckon I've got the corona immunisation in here.
No, definitely not, mate.
I think you've probably got cornflakes in there.
I had cornflakes this morning actually.
That's what I mean. You can see.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting back to the subject, I just wanted to hopefully encourage people in our industry to be responsible towards this whole situation.
Definitely.
And,
do be responsible. Don't be hysterical about it.
No, absolutely
Don't
not. No need
take
to
it with a
panic.
pinch
No
of
need to
salt.
be
Lackadaisy.
stocking up on toilet rolls and stuff. Just literally just improve your day-to-day procedures. You're washing your hands and your
But
stuff that
I
advising
hope
you to
people
do.
continue with this good hygiene. It's just basic hygiene that people are being told to do. I hope people continue with it because this coronavirus will go away. It's probably going to last for the next 3 to 4 months before it
But if everyone
dies away.
continued to do what they were doing now, the flus and all
Common
the other
colds and all that sort of stuff
everything
would
that got
take a dramatic hit.
It'd be reduced, yeah, that's for sure. Which would be good for the economy eventually as well, because less people off work,
Exactly.
more productivity.
Or less statutory pay, which saves businesses a lot of money. If everyone's off sick, you only have to pay them £90 a week. It's businesses saving loads of money.
Yeah, I suppose.
But no, good common sense. Don't get hysterical about it. Don't take it with a lackadaisy attitude, and you'll be okay. And keep an eye on the facts and the figures.
If there's any, as always, we're always a transparent kind of operation where if there's any need for you to buy anything in any significant quantity to maintain your shop, daily running in your shop, we'll tell you.
Yeah.
We'll be as forthcoming with the information as we can. We'll try and forecast stuff as best we can. And See,
maybe.
we do have stock levels that take things that are beyond our control into consideration. So I'm hoping we'll be okay for now.
Maybe this might make people consider about growing their own fruit and veg as well. So people that haven't tried it before, if you're thinking about food shortages, then if everybody growed their own, if Barry grew cucumbers, then that'd be great because he doesn't eat them. He can give them all to me. But tomatoes, cucumbers, chilies, lettuces,
man of the land.
spinach, potatoes, carrots.
Yeah.
It's
And you
good.
can grow it all on Buddha's Tree Organicus. That's my favourite for growing fruit and veg.
Is it?
Yeah.
What are we're growing tomatoes, chilies, peppers.
And they are actually
They're on Buddha's Tree Organicus, aren't they? I reckon there could be a big push for organic this year. I know CANNA really concentrating on getting their bio CANNA out there. Great product, not shouted about enough. BioBiz is already out there as a big organic range, full organic, and that's exactly what they do. I feel as though more and more people are going organic. And it might be the time to take the leap. Or Buddha's Tree Organicus is great because it's easy.
If you want a full range of feeds, almost definitely BioBiz. Full range of organic feed, BioBiz, number one out there. I've been for 100 years.
When you say full range, just to
When you want to play
be
about
concise.
with different parts and different additives,
Because
have a bit
CANNA
more control. Brilliant.
can
BioBiz
only
full
do
range.
the Terra Vega, Terra Flores, and the Boost and the Riso in the bio range at the moment, don't they?
Yeah, BioVega, BioFlores, and BioBoost.
Yeah. So,
But if you want a standalone, easy to use product to grow your fruit and veg, 100% Buddha's Tree Organics.
okay. Grow your own fruit and
I
veg,
agree.
people. And fuck any food shortage that might happen. I don't think a food shortage will happen. I think the food shortages will come from people panic buying dried pasta. And
Hey, listen, why not use this as your opportunity to give you the impetus you needed to go and grow your own fruit and veg,
yeah.
There may be a time when we all need to be self-sufficient. If this virus, imagine it
Didn't go
mutates
away.
today and just starts killing everybody, then
Jalal will catch all the fish. You'll get us
grow all the fruit and veg.
Yeah, you'll get us our meat. Barry will drive us everywhere, and I'll grow the potatoes.
Yeah. Listen, no, I mean it genuinely. Why not use this as a platform to go on and grow your own fruit and veg? Because there's a reason to do it now.
Self-sufficiency in
Yeah.
your basement.
For sure.
We always take...
Shows how vulnerable we are, though, doesn't it?
Oh, we were saying in the
Yeah,
shop,
it
weren't we?
does. Really
Shows
does.
how vulnerable we are.
Yeah.
A microbe, or the something the
that you
size of
can't
a
even
microbe,
see,
you could probably fit
and it's
100
bringing the whale
in a
to
full
its
stop.
knees.
It's in every country.
Everyone's talking about it.
It has brought... When you say the whale to its knees, it could seem like an overstatement, but it has. We're
It
talking
has.
about shutting schools.
Ask anyone who lives in
Schools,
Italy whether the world's on
airports.
its knees.
Yeah.
It is.
If people are saying
It
as
is.
well that every country's going to go through what Italy's going through, I don't think that's true. I think the UK...
I think
like
if
to
you
think
don't
it's
take
not true.
certain steps, mate, that
because
it will.
Italy with a poor country to get this, because for some reason a lot of people that were in China, a lot of business people went skiing in Italy because it's the ski
But
season.
that doesn't matter.
But
Once it's
before
there,
the
it takes one person.
before anyone even really knew about it, a lot of people were travelling to Italy, and then it spread. So as people found out about it, Italy were inundated with coronavirus, and then it was like, shit, we need to do stuff, and then measures.
But that will happen in every other country.
But we've
though.
already made a lot of measures
Have we done?
beforehand.
What are our measures now?
I'm not sure what does
I think the
slow
UK's
it down
a bit
or
shit, to be honest.
what?
I think the UK's done a bit shit. This Atletico Madrid match in Liverpool is an absolute piss take.
Cheltenham.
that shouldn't
Cheltenham
happen.
racing is an absolute piss take
80,000 people.
every day for the last 4
No, what I
days.
can't understand though is they cancelled. What match was it? They cancelled in.
All played behind closed doors.
I believe there's 2 Europa League fixtures being played tonight behind closed doors, isn't there?
Yeah. But there was a match that was played behind closed doors. Who played
Yesterday,
last night? They let the Liverpool game go on.
Man City or Man U.
Yeah, there was. I can't remember what the fixture was, but yeah, they've got to take reasonable steps. I mean, something for me that you can't lose sight of is there's implications, far-reaching implications for things like cancelling a football match. I mean, everybody says, "Oh yeah, just cancel it because it's only a gang of people going to watch football." But essentially, there's people out there that survive off those football matches. For a start, you've got your hot dog vendor that only has these football matches to feed his family with the wages from and stuff. So I think it's important to make the right decisions at the right time. And the fact that the UK hasn't put us on lockdown and taken all these drastic decisions, which some are implying they should have taken by now. I think this timing is everything now, and to do it at the right time will determine its effectiveness for a start, and it'll also determine the economic impacts, which we can't lose sight of.
Because everyone loves to jump on the high horse and jump on that pedestal and say, "Oh, you should be doing this."
You should have done this.
You have no idea the repercussions of taking big.
And you've got no idea the things that they've got to consider when they make this decision. So if Cobra do come out, this Cobra meeting does eventually end later on, and they come out and say, "Well, we're not going to put these restrictions in place." I kind of get that, because they've got to time it right. They can't do those restrictions for long.
Too early.
Well, they can't do them for long. So if they start them too early, then they'll leave themselves in a position where they've got to end those restrictions whilst the virus is still in full swing. Yeah. So it's
it was Man City and Arsenal that was postponed. Big match.
Yeah, it was postponed, but then they let
Liverpool,
loads of people from
Madrid, the hotspot in Spain.
The reason the Arsenal fixture was postponed was because they had contact with the Olympiacos chairman.
But we let people from Madrid fly over, come into Liverpool.
I agree, 100%.
And didn't go home that night. They both stayed in hotels across Liverpool.
And we now
and I'm
know
not
that,
saying that them people from Madrid have got it.
No, but we now know that Real Madrid, who are another team from the same city,
they've got it, haven't they?
Have got it in there. They've been quarantined.
In their camp.
Yeah. So
I think it's a bit mad the way that's been left, just doors open, just go and crack on.
I know.
We'll
soon see
100%,
over the next.
And no one's
4
saying
days.
that they have got it, but they come from a country that
is rife.
Listen, I won't be going to McDonald's in the city centre today. Let's put it that way.
Or for the next 4 days.
It's a real concern.
4 to 5 days.
It's a real concern.
But the big sort of take-home message is be aware of the repercussions of actions. So when things don't get, when things don't happen that you think should happen. Let's say they do shut the schools and educational establishments, so parents all around the UK now have to find childcare for the kids or take time off from work. All of those people taking time off from work is going to have a huge impact, more than you can even comprehend.
I think they're trying to time it around like the kids' Easter holidays.
Exactly.
But it's like Jay said, in the same breath, if it's not the right time to do it, what they're trying to do is 2 weeks off before, and then obviously the 2 weeks Easter holidays for the kids, which the mums have already gonna, and the parents are all going to have to sort the kids out at that point anyway.
If it was me, I'd do a week before the Easter holidays and a week after the Easter holidays.
I think as mad as it sounds, they have to let the infected numbers get to a certain level before because otherwise they're not effective.
Yeah.
You know.
And then when they come back, it could all just kick off again.
Yeah, it could be exactly the
so
same.
I'm sure the experts who make these decisions know what the number is, but they'll be waiting for it.
And if that means the kids having the 2 weeks off and it's 2 weeks after that they're off for 4 weeks, it is what it is.
The kids being off school is not such a massive one, is it? I mean, if the kids ended up being off school for 3 months, the implications wouldn't be that massive.
How do you get them looked after?
But that's the implication. It's the the knock-on effect, isn't it? The kids not being in school is not really that big.
Barry on the way back to the shop before made a great point. So if we shut the schools and nurseries, are we also going to shut cinemas, play parks, all this? So every kid from the nursery is then going to think, we need something to do. Let's all go and do our Easter holiday activities.
I don't know, but there's the other side to this as well, is that you've got in individual locations, you've got people that work in those buildings, organisations, whatever. And a friend of mine earlier on was telling me that his wife is concerned because she knows that somebody in the school that she teaches in has contracted the coronavirus and has been quarantined and whatever else due to a foreign holiday. So they know that somebody with the coronavirus has been in that school and they haven't closed the school. She's been told to go to work, which I think, that's the other side to it. When we're saying, well, they should time it correctly and they should wait for the right time and all the rest of it. Well, what is the right time for those people that work in that school and are hoping that it's closed in fear of their own health?
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways to see it. You've got to see
I think I've got it. We should send the kids to school with the clothes and leave the kids in the schools.
That sounds like a great idea, yeah.
Be a better idea, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Grandad actually came up with a great one this morning, didn't he, on Instagram, saying that the most at risk are men between 25 and 40 and that they should be spending time at the motorbike track in isolation from
everyone and
else.
everything. Do not try to contact them because
we should send the kids into school with sleeping bags and say, you've just got to stay there now.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. 100%.
Let's see how Baby Shark fucking entertains you now for the next 2 weeks, you bastards.
See how long your iPad battery lasts. No, just like I say, there's just a million different ways to see it, isn't there? I just would hope that people don't get too caught up in laying blame to, you know, they should be doing this, they should be doing that. Well, it's not an easy job, you know. Yeah, absolutely.
So it is 5:30.
It's time to go.
We're going to leave it there. For everyone watching, thank you very much for watching live. For everyone listening on podcast, sorry it wasn't your normal.
We had a few interruptions, people turning the telly on, and messing with the TV, Coatsy fucking messing with the wires.
And you had to put up with me for...
And we had to put up with Jay from Highlight.
Thanks for having me.
He's going to come with me now and tell me his full stock levels, so I know what I need to buy.
Yeah.
Barry looks like a proper football pundit, doesn't he? Look at him.
And look, he's on the offside. That's now, and he's down there, scored.
Every time Barry does commentary,
he's on the offside pitch. Did you hear that?
Every time Barry does commentary, it's all horse racing commentary. And there, Rolf's going down the straights. It's funny.
Comments on fucking cricket, can I?
Yeah, you can.
Nothing about it.
He bowls the ball, he hits it up, and they don't run. No, it's a test cricket, Jay.
Sorry.
So for the next 2 hours, he's going to block.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's the fun of cricket. And on that bombshell, thank you very much for listening to podcast 208. Podcast 209 next week is going to be managing microbes. Barry has got a full week to rest and sleep. So hopefully no yawns and falling asleep in next week's podcast for Barry. Jay, thank you very much for having your dulcet tones.
It's raining outside. I'm dying to get out and sniff the curb.
Actually, we're just going to leave it there. Barry wants to sniff the curb. See you all next week. Bye-bye.